and viewers alike, it's me, Munchie, and welcome back to a good, a bad, a Craigslist pet ad. It's like a thing now, where we dance in the beginning because something is shitty, because it's gonna come up in this video. Anyways, hello, welcome. I am Munchie, and I love small animals, or just animals in general. And because I operate a rescue, we see some really good and some really bad Craigslist pet ads. This video is also an education piece, just so that if you see something that you thought was fine, but were unaware that it wasn't fine, maybe this video will help you. And in this video, it's mostly gonna be about the animals I care for, like hamsters, gerbils, and mice, but there is times when I include another species of animal in these Craigslist ads because I wanted to share with you guys what I was seeing, which I either knew it was good or was bad, or have previously cared for this animal when I used to work at a pet store and knew a little bit about their care. I have since, I want to say, my mind's just kind of gone blank when it comes to caring for other species of animals that I'm not familiar with because I'm out of touch with those animals now. So if you want to put your input down below with anything you saw today, please go ahead and do that. And of course, these videos are going to have a rating system just so we can have a little fun with this. 5 is positively perfect, 4 is doing a good job so far, 3 is needs improvement, right? Yes, I'm just trying to remember, it's been a while. 2 is, wow, not good. I should do that with more face expression. Wow, not good. It's not good. No, please, no. And 1 is downright neglectful. Why did I hold up a 5? 1 is downright neglectful and sad. So let's jump into it now that you know this intro here. And of course, just remember guys, we are not degrading the people who are rehoming these animals unless we can kind of get a sense that maybe these people are just doing it for money. And by the way, this is filmed during the pandemic, so a lot of the ads you might be seeing here is going to be very high in price or pricey, or might be desperate sounding because it's the pandemic. People are thirsty for that money and they make bad and poor decisions of getting their child during the pandemic a pet and then rehoming it. So there might be a little bit of my opinion in there, but it's okay. It's my video. You're here for the ride. Welcome aboard. I get demonic sometimes, but let's just jump into it. And first, we're gonna show you an adopted mouse. Or mice. I said adopted mice for this title, I don't know why. But let's just check it out because I haven't seen any of these for a while. I've just been collecting them. 2 male mice up for adoption named Peanut and Almond. My husband and I adopted them from Petco in October 2019. When they say adopted from Petco, sometimes people still use the words we bought from Petco as adopted from Petco, so I don't know if this is a part of the Petco program. I'm really hoping, crossing fingers, it is, just because people are not aware. Petco also has animals in the back from people who surrendered them, and they have room and they have their own little in-store adoption program that does not have to be featuring a rescue. They can do that, but I hear that they don't really take in birds, but I think PetSmart does, just because I did see some parakeets one time at PetSmart, so I think Petco just doesn't take in the birds due to, I think, some sort of bird disease. So they are still quite young, less than a year old. They will come along with whatever food and opened bag of bedding we have left. If needed, we can include their housing items for an additional price. The items are 10-gallon tank with cover, tank heating pad, why? Pineapple house, which is actually a fish hide, water bottle, food dish, exercise wheel, clear hamster ball, and 2 unopened bags of bedding. Now, mice really don't need hamster balls. I'm just gonna say that right now. Nobody actually needs hamster balls. Your gerbil doesn't need hamster balls. Your rabbit doesn't need hamster balls. Your ferret doesn't need hamster balls. I keep seeing people buying hamster balls. Really guys, free roam them just because you're restricting them inside of a small ball. I used to use balls, and while I did not have any injuries when using those balls, and I've used them for a while, it's just a better idea to free roam. So let's first check out the 2 cuties here. Now they look exactly like every single mouse I have had here. You'd be surprised because back in the day it used to be just plain old white mouse with red eyes most likely, but now we're actually getting some nice, you know, periwinkle gray in here. I don't know mice coloration so well, so sorry breeders out there. They were like, she's butchering the color, it's not that color. But right here we have a water bottle that's appropriate, although it looks quite high for the amount of bedding that's currently in there and the size of the mice. I really don't know if they can reach it. Well, they kind of can, but I feel like they should keep it down at least lower. So right here, it is the 10-gallon tank. I don't like 2 mice for 10-gallon tanks. I feel like 2 mice for 360 square inches, which is a 20-gallon long tank, is more appropriate than a 10-gallon tank because as you can see, there's really nothing you can put in there unless you really pile the bedding high, which this person does not, and they love burrowing. This right here is very thin bedding. It's not going to keep them warm. It's not going to regulate their heat and temperature. They really love nesting. They love grabbing sticks and twigs and putting it inside their area to nest and keep them warm. This right here screams more like a laboratory setup where a lot of people are getting their information from when it comes to housing these animals. The laboratory community for testing on small rodents, they actually see 10-gallon tanks as being appropriate for like 4 to 6 mice. Hello, that's like too many for one small enclosure. So for me personally, I don't like seeing even one mouse in anything below 360 square inches. That could be personal preference. The mice community is kind of all over the place here because there's not really a lot of dedicated information on mice, but that is where I want you guys to at least get an idea. It probably should start around somewhere around 360 square inches, which is 20-gallon longs. But they do have 2 heights in here at least, so that is a good start. They do have a 7-inch flying saucer wheel, which is also good. So for flying saucers, people were saying that for hamsters it's not good because they are bigger animals and the way they run on them is not okay. But for mice, you can do that. They do seem to like them more so than classic wheels from what I found out here at the rescue. But 7-inch wheels, they do allow room for their tails to extend, whereas in a classic wheel, even if you give them like an 8-inch wheel, they still have to bend their tails. So flying saucers are actually a lot easier in my opinion than classic wheels, but we go back and forth between regular classic wheel and a flying saucer wheel, but they do like that. And there's of course the food bowl there and the water, and that's it. So this right here needs improvement. It's not like, wow, not good, but is it good? No, it needs improvement. So I feel like this is a needs improvement ranking. All right, hi guys. I am in the future coming to you because I totally forgot to include this, but in the first ad, they said that they had 2 male mice. 2. That's a big no-no. Male mice should not be together because they are territorial. And it's okay and appropriate if there was 1 male mice that has been fixed already to 1 to 2 females. However, male mice in pairs shouldn't be together. I know that there has been rescues and some breeders say that 2 male mice should be fine. However, there is preventative measures to make sure that they just don't start breaking out in fights. And I really wouldn't house them. It's just kind of the same concept as Roborowski hamsters, where people think, oh, well, they have colonies in the wild, so that means domesticated life, they're completely fine, right? Every situation is different. So I hope whoever got them were able to separate them. However, it is possible that these mice maybe went to a snake owner. Who knows? We just don't know their fate or situation. Next, I titled this one as Breeder. Let's see why. For a minute there, I was wondering why I had included this, because usually when I keep track of breeders here in Washington State, the backyard breeders that is, I keep them in a separate folder and I monitor them closely. But this one here, I titled so that I'm aware exactly what this breeder is trying to do. So this breeder is actually trying to get a lot of money for just the hamster. So in the first photo, you see baby black bear hamster, which actually doesn't look like a baby, looks a lot bigger. There is the born March 8th, 2020 rehoming fee of $30 just for a single hamster. Is complete utter yuck. But if you see inside of here, he is in a bin, but you can't really see a lot of what's going on, but there is a big stockpile of food right there. But in the second one, we got the same person, different hamster this time, and they say the same thing, baby, but this time panda bear hamster, because most likely they're doing that because of the coloration, which no, it's not a panda. But this one says born at the exact same date, but the rehoming fee is $20, so they're knocking it down because most likely the hamster before did not sell very well at $30 and they could probably rehome them for $20. By the way, guys, when you support backyard breeders, you're supporting some people being completely unethical when it comes to the treatment and the care of that animal. Sometimes accidental litters happen on this platform, and it can be obvious and sometimes maybe not so obvious when it is just an accident of like, we bought 2 hamsters from the pet store and my daughter thought we could house them together, but it turns out that's a bad idea because they got pregnant. You know, those situations do happen, and we've actually taken in recently a situation where they had a male and female together and they bred and they were like, oh no, this is too much. And so they surrendered those hamsters, which unfortunately turned out to be pregnant. And oh, I can tell you the story. I know I'm probably gonna get people asking, wait, what's happening? You haven't told us on YouTube. Instagram rescue. There you go. All information there. In these types of situations, sometimes you can clearly tell when a person is doing it over and over and over again because you are keeping track of the area, you're keeping track of the photos, you're keeping track of the phone numbers and the names and the blah, 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 blah. And you can tell by the pictures and when they were born and how they type and You can tell I've been doing this for a while. This is not good. Please don't support backyard breeders. If you really need to find a hamster in your area and you want to, and you see nothing but like baby litters being listed, at least look for the obvious where people are actually giving you some really good, decent information. Whereas this one doesn't say anything besides being born and the rehoming fee. And just seeing the setup, it looks messy, and there's a bunch of punched holes in the side of the bin. Punched holes is little to no ventilation, and the humidity will build up in that bin cage that they are housing them in. Please don't do it. So right now I really can't review that as like a ranking, but in my opinion, I would give it a downright neglectful and sad. Next one I titled as Chinchillas. Now let's take a look at this. I love chinnies. They're adorable, and oh my gosh, they require a lot, and people don't understand that unfortunately out there people kill chinchillas for their fur because they are so soft and plush, and if you hold a chinchilla, it's like you're holding a plushie. It's amazing. But of course, that's why you still see, especially like on places like Etsy or like really expensive places where they say chinchilla fur coat, and they probably kill like 34 chinchillas for that coat. I mean, it's awful. And chinchillas actually live in the mountains, and they love to scale up the rocks. And so they really need that type of environment for them. And I see a lot of times people just keeping chinchillas in like one level enclosures, and it's awful. You really got to go for the stacker. Just like with ferrets, just like with rats, you gotta go high. So let me take a look at these. Rehoming for 3 chinchillas 100. Can no longer house them, cage and accessories included. So even though this listing is very vague, let's check out the photos here because that's what really matters. So we can see the first chinchilla, adorable, chewed the heck out of that log bendy bridge right there. Oh, and yes, they are big chewers, so you gotta make sure you provide wood. Always for rodents, provide wood so they can chew on them. Second one, adorable. Look at those ears. And they have a bendy bridge too that they've chewed on, but it's connected. Now, let's check out the first photo, which is the close-up shot of the photo. They have 3 hides up top and a bendy bridge up there. They have a 12-inch silent spinner right there. It looks like they have a feeding area that they've completely chewed over to the right side. And on the left side, it looks like another bendy bridge. And actually, those igloos right there, you can see they stacked them. So there's actually 2 stackable igloos on top of one another in this cage. Now, yes, this cage is only 1 level, and it says here 3 chinchillas. So technically, this is not big enough for 3 chinchillas. I would say this type of setup, even though I'm not a chinchilla owner, I would say this setup would only be good for maybe like 1 or maybe 2 as a minimum. Not so sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have the right items there. And if we zoom out, we can actually see that they don't have a pan, they don't have a bottom, so they're actually putting their pads on the wires, which I feel like would not be good for any animal having to be housed on wires, especially when it comes to animals that have sensitive paddings. Not so sure if chinchillas are the same way as hamsters, but with hamsters, if they are on wire all the time, they get bumblefoot, which is inflammation, and it could erupt into an infection and swell, and you will have an inflammation problem, which is not good for the hamster. But what I see here is, I feel like needs improvement for 3 chinnies. And I also want to say this too, because some people, they don't like using 12-inch wheels for their chins. They usually go 14 and above. So I just want to make a mention of that. I'm not entirely sure if a 12-inch is still considered a minimum for a chinny, but you have 3 chinchillas, and it looks like you only have 1 wheel in here. So I want to say needs improvement. It's not bad. It looks clean. Looks like they tried to maintain it well, but for 3 chinchillas, that's a no. Next one I titled Female Gerbils. Let's see what's up with this one. Rehoming gerbils, 3 females. I'm rehoming my 3 gerbils, can only be adopted together. They get lonely. Good, that's a good point. They are in a 20-gallon tank with a wheel, saucer, wheel, water bottle, food bowl, and wood hide. They are very similar to hamsters. I wouldn't say similar, but of course they can eat the same diet. And yeah, they can still be in the same type of area, but gerbils need so much more active than hamsters. And for 3 gerbils, 20-gallon long tank like this one here, or is this the 20-gallon high? Oh, that's a good question, is it? Let me just quickly look. Oh nope, it's the 20-gallon long tank. 3 gerbils in a 20-gallon long is not appropriate. So in the gerbil community out there, especially in the gerbil advice and care group on Facebook, they encourage people to at least, for a minimum of 2 gerbils, have a 20-gallon tank and a topper for it. And toppers, unfortunately for 20-gallon tanks, are custom made. You cannot find them in pet stores. You can only find 10-gallon with 10-gallon tank toppers, which is way too small. But in this situation, they only have the tank, they don't have the topper. So this is below minimum. So it's really yikes and not good, but let me continue. They've never bitten me and you can hold them. I used to hold them every day, but now I just pick them up when I clean their tanks. They'd be great with kids or anyone who wants a low maintenance and very entertaining pet. I wouldn't say they're low maintenance. I mean, goodness, but they are a lot easier than having energetic Syrian hamsters that just won't settle down due to their temperament, their behavior, their instincts, and because they're females in heat that have heat cycles every 4 to 6 days and smell musky as woo! Anyways, they're asking $10 rehoming fee, and if it's for the entire setup, that's wonderful because that's very, very minimum of a rehoming fee. So that's good, but at the same time, it could still be too low for some, and they might take them and feed them to their snakes. You just never know, so hopefully this person does ask questions about that. The fee is just to cover the cost of the enclosures and to prevent people from buying them and feeding them to their... Oh, there we go. I didn't read forward. I was just saying that hopefully the person's asking questions, and it seems like this ad people do care. But if we take a look at the photo, the very first one, what the heck is up with the food? Food on the hide, food in the bowl, food on the wheel. That is not good right there. That is bad behavior. They are trying as a group, as a little colony in this tiny tank with not enough bedding. Oh my goodness, we'll get into that here in a second. They have no choice but to create these places for their foods unless the owner is putting the food on their food hide, which, God, that's way too much food. Oh, good gravy. And the food quality, you can tell right away because there's not a lot of raw ingredients. You can see the same old millet sprays. There's not a lot of variety in this, so they're getting a poor diet to boot, which is not great. It's probably the great choice hamster and gerbil formula at PetSmart. Just throwing that out there. It kind of feels like it is. But if you see inside of here, I don't know what those wood blocks look like. Are those wood blocks? They don't look like it. It kind of looks like cotton pads. Oh wait, actually this looks like the nesting material that I see at PetSmart, where it's the cotton nesting material. They're not like hamsters, and so they don't actually pouch them in their cheek pockets to then carry back. However, they do grind the cotton and the wood fibers to make it a lot fluffier. You know what, I never thought about cotton fluff for gerbils, but I would think that with the cotton fluff, it would just be the same issues that we have with hamsters, where it's a possibility they could strangulate themselves. It's not good material, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I'm not so sure about the little blocks in here that I see, but they have one chew, which is a very easy to degrade toilet paper tube. But you can consider the hide as a chewable object, which to them, they will definitely, gerbils chew so much more than hamsters, and it is insane to see what they can go through, even PVC pipe, which you think is a pretty strong plastic, but to gerbils, my females chewed so much more than my male gerbils did at the rescue here. But this is just a really bad setup, and I want to say that's at least 2 inches of bedding there, because you can start to see the edge of the bottom. Gerbils need a recommendation of 8 inches. If you got a 20-gallon high tank with a tank topper, which is what I have, then that right there, you can fit at least 16 inches high of bedding, which is so suitable. They can actually make their own burrows and dens and tunnel systems in that, because they can benefit from vertical space. They're not like hamsters, where hamsters really shouldn't benefit from vertical space, but they can because they live deep underground. They mainly are active underground in their burrows, more so than hamsters, and they have big colonies. And the wheel size, so for gerbils, a minimum of at least 8 inches for their wheel. This is 7 inches. This is a UME brand of a flying saucer wheel. And then of course they have a plastic water bottle, which if they were to get the size of that plastic, they could chew it up pretty easily. You want to get a hard plastic so that they don't get encouraged to chew on that. But really, there's not much here. You know what? It's not filthy, but it still doesn't look great. Wow, not good. Next we have Good Rat Post is what I titled this one, but let's see what it says. 2 male rats. I'm posting today with a sad heart, and this is a really detailed description, by the way. Just want to note that. My partner and I recently split up and I can't take my boys. They're about 6 to 7 months from different litters and were rescued from a local rat and reptile rescue, which sounds like my friends at Cuddles and Scales Rescue in Washington State. Wonderful people. The Gray Rex coat started out being the more social and brave one. While he's still pretty brave, some of that bravado has turned into pushiness. He never caused me any concerns for biting or anything, but he is up in your business and likes to play nip and bounce around. So he's just an overly excited boy that gets way too over the top. It sounds like a freaking boy toddler, just doesn't know when to quit. And the other one started out less social, didn't really want anything to do with me. Over time, he has become the calmer, loving one. They could both use a little more socialization. Neither is extraordinarily loving or squishy, but they are, is that right? Squishy? Yeah. But they are young and have a lot of energy. They are good with kids, but don't like other animals, especially cats. So this person is trying to tell people, hey, my animals don't like other animals, and that's great. I'm glad they are providing so much information and detailed information for future adopters. Good, good, good. They need to go to home prior with rat experience and to be kept as pets. I like to see them receive a diet similar to what they've had, fresh fruits and veggies, plus rat block. They will come with their cage, about 4 gallons of Missouri rat block, which is great, very great diet. They have a water bottle, a space pod, a food dish, and plenty of fleece bedding and other bibs and bobs. I'm asking a rehoming fee of $60, which is great when you see the setup that they're currently in right now. Less than what I paid for the cage alone, which is a good rehoming fee. People try to get almost all their money back, or a little more if they're like sneaky about that, you know? But for this here, this is perfect. I love it. So let's take a look at the cage. In the cage, you can see the Missouri rat blocks. I can confirm with you that is the stuff I have to crush up when I make the Wendell's Wonder formula for one of the hamsters here and the current Syrians with their pups here. They have to get that protein. But yes, there's fleece inside of there. There's hammocks. There's that space pod that she was talking about. It looks like there's sticks inside of there, which is great because they love walking on things and sticks are a really good option. And it looks like there's a cardboard box in there that they can chew. They have water bottle. They have food up there. It looks pretty decent. You guys, if you're rat people, you're welcome to comment on this. You might say that the cage might be too small, but I feel like for 2 boys, 2 male rats that are most likely almost fully grown adults now, at the ages of 6 to 7 months, that this seems suitable. I know that you can do better, like the Critter Nation cage, Midwest cage, but this doesn't look bad at all, at least to me. And they look very healthy. Look at them, they're so gorgeous. First one, guy's looking out the cage. Second one, he's in his little space pod with all of the beautiful fleece in there. And then there's them sleeping together. Yeah, this looks pretty decent. And then of course we saw the bottom, and the bottom is with fleece. So fleece usually gets thrown into the wash and then reused, and they probably have different sets to cycle that out, because what you could do also is add paper bedding, but I see a lot of rat owners use fleece because it's a lot better, and also guinea pig owners are the same way where they rather use fleece. It's a lot easier to clean up after. You can just change it out, you know, every couple of days, and it works very well. So that was a good post. You guys tell me there's not enough good posts out there, but the whole reason why that is because there's not a lot of people that do their research and then give away their good care and pets, unless it's through this type of situation where it's unfortunate circumstance that your partner and you just split and you're like, no, oh my God, I was in such a loving and comfortable place and I had these companions and they were my life and soul, and now look at what's happened. It's unfortunate. You cannot sometimes see this coming. Sometimes it might build up and you're like, well, they could have seen that coming, but sometimes you just really can't. And you also rely heavily on companionship to also help you out with mental illness and depression, and it's very hard, but these people are doing the right thing. And the last one that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today, since I've been blabbing too much, is guinea pig rescue. Ooh, let's see this one. I'm trying to remember this one. So I have 3 female guinea pigs ready for a new home. I run a small animal rescue, and these 3 girls are looking for their forever home. The first few pictures is of a 2-year-old Bean. She is super sweet and has been hand raised from a baby. She is the most hand tame and friendly one of the group. The next few pictures are 3-year-old Olivia. Olivia is not hand tamed as a rescue that came from a home where she wasn't handled. She doesn't mind being helped, but she would rather come to you. The last few pictures are of Toffee. Now Toffee is Olivia's daughter. She had also been handled from birth. She is about 1 year old and loves the treats and to be cuddled. The girls will come with their cage, you see here. It has 2 hides, a food dish, water bottle, cage divider, and a couple hay balls. The cage does not have a top. I will be asking for an adoption fee of $50 for all. I just want them to go to a good home. I can transport depending on location, day, and time. If you are interested in these sweet girls or want to know more, please feel free to email me. Okay, now I realize, now that I see what I have titled this one is titled Claiming to be a Rescue. Now, there are people out there, and this is actually getting pretty serious lately, where there is people popping up that claim, hey, I am a small animal rescue, but they present no phone numbers, no names, no rescue names, no no, credentials, no resources. Even though this is a very detailed description, I also have to scratch my head too, just because it's like I see so many of them out there. They're like, hey, if you don't want your animals, I'll take them in. Because some of these animals that you see where they're like, I take in anything. It makes you kind of realize, are they using them for bait, for torture? Are they using them for snake food? There was one that was clearly a snake feeder trying to only get specific size small rodents that scream feeding to a larger snake. And these guys can be very dangerous. And sometimes people will say, hey, I'm a rescue, but then they turn out to be a flipper. So they say, oh yeah, just surrender to me. And then they flip for profit. And that can also be very disheartening. But at the same time, rescues out there really don't want people posting free to good home ads, because then the snake people do take them. And it's just, it's horrible. But this person, I remember, now that I'm seeing this, I looked them up and I was trying to find some contact information because they claim they run a small animal rescue and people who take pets or hamsters and breed them and then claim that they are rescuing hamsters, but they don't specify that, well, you also bred those rescued hamsters and now you're selling their offspring. Well, no, it was rescued in the first place, so it's fine. It's just... no, it's not! So this right here is just a cautious of like, be careful, they're claiming to be. But right here, if you take a look, this is guinea pig habitat from, I believe, is this the Midwest? I think it's the Midwest one. And technically the Midwest one is 24 by 47 and it's a height of 14 with the grids. This person kind of made it a little custom, so it's actually a lot smaller because they are overlapping. And you can see right there, it's 2 grids by 2 grids. So this is basically a 2 by 2. So for a rescue to have inappropriate housing care like this, it doesn't sit very well with me right now, just because if you guys are aware of guinea pig care, for 2 by 3 grids, it's good for 1 or 2 as a minimum, even though I don't like it, like I've stated before. But if you have 3 guinea pigs, you need at least a 2 by 4, preferred is 2 by 5. So this is not good. And just like as a rescue, yes, there are some rescues out there that can't do the bare minimum, but even shelters try their best, at least for the larger mammals, because they seem to get more attention. They at least try to give them the essentials and the bare minimum, although there are rescues out there still in the United States and around the world that really provide less than ideal care, but when they get overloaded, they really have nowhere to put them. This right here, I don't know the person, don't know the situation. I just can't really judge this rescue and what they're doing, but just knowing that this is not the appropriate care. But they do have a lot of hay in there, which is good. Don't know what type of hay that is. They have a water bottle. You really should, for 3 guinea pigs, have at least 3 water bottles. There's only 2 hides in there, and those hides, none of them have another escape. Meaning you should have at least, if you want to have one hide that's closed off, you need to have at least a couple of hides that are open at different ends, and maybe get some tunnels in there, or just have out in the open hides where it's just kind of like a corner, and then they have a pocket they can go into and easily get out of. They have room to do that. But here it's just, I don't like it. It needs improvement. And I don't remember if I saw this rescue again. And of course I remove all of the locations on these now, so I can't remember this exact same person, but that is where I want to leave that off with you guys. They do look pretty healthy. It does sound like this person has had them for a while, but actually now that I think about it, they say that they hand raised the baby and the baby's now 1 year old. So how can you be a rescue that has held on to a baby for a year? Wait a minute. If you had, okay, I think I just discovered something. I do think that I just caught their bluff. I don't think this is a legit rescue. I actually think this is just someone trying to rehome their guinea pigs that they raised for about a year and no longer could care for. That would make more sense. But yeah, no, it's just like a rescue would not hold on to a guinea pig for a year. That's another thing. There are people that claim they're rescues, but they're actually rehoming their own animals. Or I found them outside and turns out, no, your pregnant cat had a litter of kittens and you're claiming that, oh, these poor babies were left in the rain, I can't take care of them. Apparently rescue means, oh, they're well taken care of, or oh, someone rescued them, so that means we're pulling at your heartstrings and getting you in, when it might not even be that situation. And that makes it extremely difficult for legit and ethical rescues out there to actually present to the public that, hey, we are ethical, we have ethical treatment, we have ethical care, because they're still still to this day, I'm getting heated and I'm raising my voice, so hopefully you guys don't mind. Still to this day, people that say, I don't want to drop off like my hamster at a rescue if I can help it. Why? Well, I don't want the rescue to like, you know, give it away to a snake or have inappropriate care or like, you know, not take care of it at all. And it's the same with cats and dogs, where the cats and dogs, it makes more sense because there is high kill shelters around here that are not properly funded. Therefore, if they take in animals, they have to kill them at a certain point because they're just getting overloaded with animals and animals and animals. And it's your responsibility to spay and neuter your companion animal because you ain't gonna be breeding them. And if you do, that's irresponsible. Shame on you. Anyways, so they have this negative connotation of, well, all rescues, including privately funded, which is what we are here, privately funded rescues, and shelters that are government funded. They have grants being given to them like left and right here. But for those rescues and shelters, there are people that are just like, I don't want to surrender to you. I'm just going to try giving it to somebody. And that somebody might not even be qualified. Rescues jump through hoops. Rescues have applications. Rescues like our rescue literally ask several questions, make sure you have all the legit stuff. If you don't, we make sure to inform you, to keep constant communication with you. And if you don't want to upgrade for your said animal because, hey, you just don't want to put your hamster in something that is appropriate and rather keep it in a shoebox, that's not okay. And we're not going to give you the animal. We want the animal to have a great life. And some people just don't see that. So it's unfortunate that people out there have this negative thought, and of course there is also things that cause that negative thought, like fake rescues here. So thank you guys so much for watching today's Munchie Talk Craigslist ad video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was insightful for you, and if it was, hit like just to show support for this channel and the content that I create. And if you like anything to say, leave it down below. Subscribe if you're new here and would like to become a part of the Munchkin family, and I'll see you in the next Munchie Talk video. Bye-bye! I brought my reading glasses, which is my blue light glasses, to actually wear during the video. And I don't wear them except for on top of my head, looking like a freaking hipster. I'm sorry. Oh, I'll have to wear them in another video. Alrighty, bye. That's all I wanted to say was, if anybody questions why my glasses are not on my actual face, I'm an idiot. It's alright though, bye. I keep slapping myself. Goodness, I'm wearing shorts.